Okay, so now we're going to have a chance to have a look at some questions, only a few. And like I said, I really recommend that you spend some time looking at full papers, print one off and try it. You'll be surprised at how many times you want to look at the mark scheme, and you're a bit confused about whether you've got it right or not, which, perhaps is new to you if you've been teaching A-level maths and GCSE maths. Okay, well, this is an interesting one. It's actually up to 80% of the content can be what's considered to be GCSE level content. Now, I think that's slightly misleading in that although the topics may be, there's no new mathematical skills necessarily in that section to learn, but the way the questions are asked proves a different challenge. But what you do know is there's not much new content to learn in terms of new level 3 content, but the approach to problem solving is the really important thing. So I'm going to show you some questions now. And I think the most useful thing for you to do is just pause the video at every question, and then have a go at it. Actually force yourself to have a go and think about how you feel doing that question and how it feels different. So this is the first one, and this is from OCR. So like I said, just pause the video and have a go. Okay, I'm going to advance the slide now, and it'll show the mark scheme. So just to pre-warn you. So here is the mark scheme, and I think it's interesting just to note that both no and yes are allowed, so don't worry, if you're worried about which one you said, as long as you've supported it with the correct working out. And here's the next question. So this is from AQA. So again, I would just pause the video, have a go, perhaps reflect on how do you think you could get 5 marks from this question. And now I'm going to advance the slide and show you the mark scheme for this. So you should be able to see that quite a lot of the marks are coming from assumptions that you're making, and there's a range of different answers that are acceptable. So you have to have reasonable assumptions, and that's an interesting consideration because, sometimes students surprise you, unfortunately, by their lack of general knowledge. This is coming from a teacher who was based in Liverpool, and some students were a little bit confused about the location of Wales. So sometimes you'd be surprised at what they don't know, not mathematically, just in general. Okay, and here's the next question. So again, pause it, have a think about it, think perhaps how this looks different. Okay, so I'm not going to show you the answer to this one because it's just 1 mark, and the answer is graph D. So great if you got that one right. It might be worth just thinking about, why students might think about the other ones and why they might choose those. It's quite an interesting read in the examiner report as well. Okay, so just a wee bit more discussion about kind of the content in core math. So these topics are broadly in all of them, but to different amounts in each one. So depending on the ones you choose, different things will be a focus, but all of them do have spreadsheets. And I think that's really, really useful because it comes to the point where you do certain calculations and you don't want to do it without a spreadsheet. So it can be really, really valuable. And critical analysis, I think, is challenging to teach, but so valuable. I want the students to go out into the world and really question what they're being told and what they're seeing in the media. Constantly we're being bombarded with information and data visualizations now. So that's really, really important. And estimation, just a kind of real kind of general sense of number and what they're expecting to get, and that kind of thing is also really valuable too. So this question is from NCFE, from the sample paper. Again, I think it might be interesting just to pause the video, have a think about it. You don't have to have a go at these ones. I think, I'm not going to go through all the mark schemes, but I just think it's interesting to pause it and have a go to kind of force yourself to feel like how the student feels. But obviously you can go and have a look at the full paper and the mark scheme in your own time. This question is from Edexcel, and I put this one in here to highlight the fact that Spearman's rank is in Edexcel as well. They're obviously providing the table for them, but they actually have to go through the process of calculating Spearman's rank, and it's worth 6 marks. And there's a second part of the question as well, where they're asked to comment on the article statement too. And this question is from OCR, and I put this one in to show you the kind of ways that spreadsheet skills can be tested in core maths. So again, I would just pause this and have a look at it. And finally, this question is from AQA. And I think this is an interesting one to have a look at because there was information provided in the pre-release material. So AQA pre-release material comes out on the 1st of March every year. And there was information provided about motorways and costs and the number of lanes in a motorway and things like that. And then this was the question that came out. So they had to estimate the cost of resurfacing the whole of the M1. And it was worth 10 marks. And bearing in mind that this is paper 1 and it's out of 60 marks, it's quite a significant chunk. And it may look quite overwhelming when you first look at it. But I thought it would be nice just to see the examiner report to make you feel a little bit better about how students do. So I think this is great, you know, because they've got an opportunity to kind of process the pre-release material, they have a stronger sense of confidence. And I think this is very important for students that have perhaps come in with grade 4s or 5s in GCSE and perhaps, you know, not as confident at answering these big open questions.